Hi there everyone, welcome to our VGDA Trello tutorial. My name is Nathan, and at the time of recording I am the president of VGDA. Alright, so we'll get right into it. So Trello is a task management software that we've found to be exceptionally effective at coordinating communication. The technique of task management is called Kanban, which is a Japanese term. At one point I knew what it meant, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with being able to move things between one list and another, but we'll be getting into that shortly. Alright, so when you start up Trello, this is sort of what it's going to look like. You won't have this example team thing here, but actually I'll just delete that really quick so that we can have something that's more authentic, I guess. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when you first enter Trello, when you first sign up for Trello. But Trello uses a kind of a hierarchy that takes a little bit of adjustment to get used to, but once you learn it, it's not that hard at all. So the way it works is you have teams, and then you have boards, and then you have lists, and then you have cards. And when we talk about cards, we will occasionally call them tasks as well, because that's usually what they'll be when we're using it, when VGDA is using it. But I'm just going to create a little walkthrough so that you can really understand how that hierarchy is set up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an example team. And a team is a collection of boards. And then a board is a collection of lists. And then a list is a collection of cards. Tasks. And so the way this works is you can say that something is worked on and you can take this task, say, okay, I'm working on this now, or progress on this task is blocked, and now I'm finished with it. And we'll be doing something fairly simple with our boards, although it's going to be a little more specific than that, and I'll explain all of that later. But yeah, I just wanted to do this so that everyone got a clear understanding of what a task was, which are these little things. So a list is going to have several like iterations of the task being worked on, and a list will be kind of like an overarching goal that we're trying to reach, like having concept art done for a specific character, or a walk animation done, or sound bites for footsteps or things like that. And so we'll have the lists, we'll have the board, and then we'll have the team as a whole. And this button is pretty important. It'll help you be able to see all of the boards and all of the teams that you're a part of, and they really don't. One thing I don't like about this website is that they don't do a great job of making it clear what this does. You'd think that you'd be able to click on your profile thing to be able to get to this. If you click on your profile, there's actually no way of getting to that super useful page. So in the meantime, to get to this super useful page, you'll just hit the Trello thing at the top. So right now, these are the only teams and boards that you have available to you. But your team lead is going to be responsible for adding you to the correct board. So this is the VGDA art board. Since I'm going to be on the art team this semester, I'm going to be going through that. So what your team lead is going to need to do is they're going to need to go into members, and they're going to go to add members, and they're going to need to go to, they're going to type in your email address, which you've given them, and see their name will pop up. So that's me. And now, if I refresh the page, I should be able to see our organization, or the VGDA art team. And you can create new boards for the VGDA art team, although we are going to ask that you don't. So in the meantime, what you'll need to do is you'll go to boards right here. It's right next to the name of the team. And then you'll go into artboard, or I'll go into artboard because this is an example of what one of our boards is going to look like. Now, some of you might have noticed that when you started the team and when you went into the welcome board, there was a thing for add cards at the bottom, and there would also be a thing for add lists, or prompt for add lists over here. But you can't access any of those things unless you have your menu open and you join the board. And see, now all of a sudden you can add a card and you can add a list as well. Although your team lead will take care of adding lists, so it'll mostly just be your job to add cards. So this is what every single one of our Trello boards will look like, whether you're working on art or sound or programming or any of that stuff. Our Trello boards are uniform to make it so that everyone from any team can get any of the information they might need about or from the other teams. So here we have the hub. Now this is going to be kind of like a table of contents for whatever specific board you're in. So if you're not sure if you're trying to get something from like concept art or character art or environment art or animation, you can come here and you can make sure that from the board description that you're in the right place. And then you can also look, there'll be a checklist of current and past week projects so that you can double check to make sure that the task that you're looking for, or the asset that you're looking for, was actually a part of this board. Next we have finalized, and so finalized is going to have a couple of things. So it's good if anything is in the finalized list, that means that it has been approved by the team lead responsible for this team, and that for all intents and purposes this asset is done. We're not going to be working on it anymore. It is ready to be put into the game. Additionally, you might have noticed that there's a little colorful thing there. We label everything that has been done, and we do that. We change the color based on the team. So technical, its finished products are all orange, arts are purple, contents are blue, and sound is pink. So if you see one of those colored labels, you can tell whether or not, you can tell that it's done and which team finished it. If you see yellow, that means that something needs revisions. So before something can be finalized, it needs to be posted in the waiting for approval. So if you think something is done, just move the card. You're like, oh, I think that this piece of concept art is done. Move it into the waiting for approval, and then if your team lead likes it, that'll be moved into finalized. It'll be labeled purple or whatever color for your team. Now, if you're working on it and for some reason maybe you're working on a piece of art and you need more you're working on a character and you need more information from the content team or the design team, or maybe you're working on sound and you need something from the animation team and you can't proceed any further unless you get more information or get different tools, or for whatever reason there's some reason that you can't finish the task, you can move it, or you can't continue working on the task. If that's the case, you move it to the blocked list, and that'll let your team lead know that there is something that needs their attention, and it'll let the exec board know that as well. And we'll get to work right away making sure that you have everything you need to continue working on this task. And last, this is the last kind of standard list that we have on our boards. You have the necessary and relevant resources. Now, necessary and relevant resources is going to be a list that has all of the tutorials or tools or anything that we think or you think that your team needs in order to get things done as quickly and efficiently as possible. So that's basically how our Trello boards work. There are going to be a couple of other things related to messing with the cards that I'm going to get into now, and then we'll be done. Alright, so once you have a card posted, there are a couple of things that you can do with it. One, this is where you change the labels to whether it's finished by a team or it needs revisions. You can also add checklists, and those you probably won't have to mess with too much, but they're there if you need them. You can also set a due date for yourself. Now this is really helpful for making sure that you don't forget something if you need to be working on it. And this is where you post attachments. And attachments can be done from your computer, uploaded directly from your computer, linked from your Google Drive or Dropbox or Box and OneDrive, whatever those are. Additionally, there are some actions here. Now you can subscribe, and so this will give you email notifications when something changes. Archiving is kind of like it removes it from wherever it is and it stores it in this kind of like vault of history of archived cards. And for all intents and purposes, this is one way that you can delete things if you want to get rid of them. Although probably shouldn't be messing with this too much, because archiving is going to be mostly up to the executive board and leads. Now, the actions that are going to be probably most interesting to you are going to be the move and copy. Now, say you need to, like maybe you posted something in the wrong board, or you need to send this to someone, like content needs to send a character right up to the art team. What they can do is you can copy it, and then this dialog box will open up, and you can change the title if you want. You can remove the attachments or decide to keep them if you want. But this is the stuff that is really going to be useful to you. So you can actually move. You can actually copy things or move them not just across boards but also across teams. So for example, we can copy this card to the example boards, and we can send this to one of, like, let's say that this is done. We're going to say this is done, and we're going to send this to the example team. And since there's nothing in the example in the done list on the example team, it only gives you the option of doing one. But in the example list, which does have a couple of the cards in there, you can put this wherever you want. But we'll move this to done, and we'll hit. Actually, you know what? Let's send it to example list, because that'll be a better example. And we'll say we want it in position 3. So we'll hit create card. And then we'll go to our example boards and our example team. See, this has a list of your recent boards. And here it is. And it even gives you a history of where this was copied from and a link to that. So that's super helpful. Anyway, I think that's actually going to finish up our little tutorial here. I know that was a lot of information, but if you have any questions, you can email us at contact.vgda@gmail.com, or you can talk to your team lead if you know who that is and you have their email. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it wasn't too boring for you. I know it can be a little bit dry, but it's for a good cause, because this is how games are made. Alright, well, hope that I'm working with you, and for those of you in the future, well, yeah, good luck.